Before we get started on today's stuff, I thought I would take just a sec. I just want to review how to find x and y intercepts and graph the equation. So if you remember, to find x and y intercepts, to find the x-intercept, let's start with that. So to find the x-intercept, we put 0 in for y, and we solve for x. So let's put 0 in for y. We have x plus 2 times 0 equals 6. You're just trying to figure out when y is 0, what is x? So x, the 2 times 0 is just 0. It goes away. So my x-intercept is at 6, 0. So we can put that point right there. And then to find the y-intercept, instead of putting 0 in for x, for y, we put 0 in for x. So that time we go 0 plus 0 in for x, 2 times y equals 6. That part just goes away. So 2y equals 6, divide by 2. So we end up with 0, 3. Okay, take those 2 points, graph the line that crosses through there, and that's what our graph looks right there. So remember, we've graphed with a table. We reviewed one of those on the last lesson. And we can also graph the x and the y intercepts, which we just did right now. So today we're going to go through a third way of graphing. So we want to be able to graph a linear equation by finding the slope and the y-intercept of the equation. So make sure you have this in your notes, this y equals mx plus b. If the equation is in this, we call this slope-intercept form. And the reason why is if it's in this form, we talked about in the last lesson that number, make sure you label this, that number is always your slope. Well, this b is the y-intercept. So make sure you take just a second and make sure you have that labeled. So m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So if the equation is in that form and that y equals mx plus b, then you can tell what the slope and the y-intercept is. And once you have those two things, it's actually really easy to graph the line. All right, so it says put the equation in slope-intercept form if necessary. Find the slope and the y-intercept and graph the function. So slope-intercept form is this, y equals mx plus b. The way you can tell, right, is the y should be by itself. So I look over here, the y is by itself. So this is in slope-intercept form, right? Y equals something times x plus or minus a number. So underneath here, make sure you put this down. That number right there, don't include the x. The number in front is the slope. So the slope is 2/3. The number out here is the y-intercept. And usually we use b for that, but it's equal to a -2. Make sure you include the sign. It's a -2, so it's a -2. If it were a +2, then it would be a +2. Okay, so we got the slope and the y-intercept. Now we're going to use those to graph the equation. So here's how we do it. You always start with the y-intercept. So make a little note of that. Start with the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is -2, so go on your y-axis. Make sure it's on the y-axis, not the x. That's a really common mistake, right? It has to be on the y-axis. Go down to -2. That is your y-intercept. Okay, the slope is a +2/3. Remember what we talked about? If the slope is positive, then from left to right, it has to be going up. So I can go up 2 and over 3, but it's got to be going up. But I can do as many points as I want. I can go up 2 and over 3 again if I want to find another one. If I want to, I can actually go down 2 and left 3. As long as from left to right, it's still going up, right? I could do as many points as I want. I can go both directions. But from left to right, the line has to be increasing or going up. All right, so my line looks something like that. So this is a really easy way to graph, especially if your equation is already in the y equals mx plus b form. So here's another one. So this one is in the slope-intercept form again, right? I've got the y equals something times x plus 1. So go ahead, circle the -2 and label it. I know that's my slope, that's m. And then 1 is b, it's the y-intercept. Okay, start with the y-intercept. Make sure you go on the y-axis to 1. And this is a little bit tricky. This one, the slope, is not a fraction. You always want to make it into a fraction. So if it's -2, I can always make it -2/1. The other thing to be careful with is make sure that because it has negative slope, my line has to be going down from left to right. So I'm going to go down 2, and then to the right 1. See how the line's going down from left to right? down 2, right 1, down 2, and you can go as many as you want. You can go the other way. I can go up 2 and then left 1, as long as from left to right, from left to right, my line is falling. Okay, it's going down. Sometimes it's not that easy, and what makes it a little trickier is if this equation is not in y equals mx plus b form. So if you look at this equation, the 2x plus, this does not look like the y equals mx plus b. So in those cases, we have a little bit of work to do first. I have to solve for y. So to get y by itself, you always start by subtracting over the x term. What I mean by that is this 2x right here. So I've got 2x there, I'm going to minus 2x. So subtract 2x there, subtract 2x over here. So I always do that first. Now I'm left with 3y equals, and then I'm going to switch those two around. I want the x to come first. So I have 6 minus 2x. I'm going to write it as being a minus 2x plus 6. Notice how the minus stayed with the 2x and the 6 was positive. It's a plus 6. The signs stay the same. Okay, I'm almost there. This is 3 times y. I now want to get rid of the 3. I have to divide by 3. When I divide by 3 over here, you have to divide each of those by 3. It ends up being y equals, I'm going to write that as being negative 2/3 x plus, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, that's the hardest part, is getting in that y equals mx plus b form. The rest is pretty easy. There's my slope, which is a negative 2/3, that's m. And then my y-intercept is b. So I'm going to go on the y-axis up to, sorry, my y-intercept is 2. So I'm going to go up on the y-axis to 2. I've got a negative slope. That means my line has to be going down. So I'm going to go down 2 and over 3. Down 2 over 3. Or if you want to, go up 2 and to the left 3. But again, just making sure that the line from left to right is going down. And the reason why it's going down is the negative slope. Let's do one more together, then I'll give you one I want you to try real quick. Okay, so always start by moving that x term over to the other side. So it's a minus x, so I'm going to add x. That means I have to add x over to there. So now I have 4y equals, take the 8 and the x and switch them around. They're both positive, so they'll still both be positive. I'm going to put a 1 in front of there. Okay, now divide by 4. Okay, that gets the y by itself. I have 1 over 4x, so 1/4 x. 8 divided by 4. Okay, that's the tough part. You got it in the y equals mx plus b form. Now, my y-intercept is 2, so I go up to positive 2. And then my slope is a 1/4. So it's positive, so it's got to be going up from left to right. So I'm going to go up 1 and over 4. And I can't really get it. I guess the other point be over there somewhere. But I could go left 1 and to the left 4, right? Notice how my line is still going up, right? Just making sure it's going up from left to right. Okay, so there's the equation of my line. That's what it looks like. Okay, I want you guys to try this one. Solve for y. Pause the video. Solve for y. Get it in that y equals mx plus b form, and then draw the graph. So you're first going to minus the 3x over. You get negative 2y equals, I'm going to switch those around. Be really careful with signs. The negative stays with the x. The 4 is a positive. Just switch them around. Okay, divide by negative 2. That gets the y by itself. Be really careful. The 2 negatives make it a positive. So I have 3/2 x. 4 divided by a negative 2 is a minus 2. Okay, my y-intercept then is at a negative 2. So go down to negative 2. There's my y-intercept. And my slope's a positive 3 over 2. So positive means it has to be going up from left to right. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 over 2. So up 3 over 2. Up 3 over 2. Up 3. You know, you can do as many points as you want. You could go the opposite way if you wanted. As long as it from left to right, it's going up. So my line ends up looking something like that. And that's really all there is to it. So this is our third way to graph. So if you're graphing this way, get the check to see if the equation is in that y equals mx plus b form. If it is, great. You know what the slope is. You know what the y-intercept. Start with the y-intercept and use the slope to find more points. Remember, when you're finding more points, if it's positive, you're going to be going up from left to right. If it's negative, you're going to be going down from left to right. If you have negative slope, it'll just be going down from left to right, going the opposite direction. All right. Good luck with the assignment, guys. Make sure you're helping each other and you're getting stuff done and being productive.